So every now and then I run into a bit of a problem with my writing that I think a lot of you guys might be able to relate to, and that is blank page syndrome, where you just pick up your book, you pick up your pen, and nothing. Like, I'm so desperate to write something down. I've got so much in my head that I want to say, but for some reason, I just cannot get it out with this pen into this book. It's just not working. When that happens, there are two things that you can do. One of them is to literally take the book and put it to one side and do not beat yourself up for having nothing to say, right? That's exactly the same problem as not, you think you have to post something on Instagram every day or publish a YouTube video every day or every week. You start beating yourself up and the mediums start becoming all consuming. That can happen with journaling and writing and all that kind of stuff too, right? It can happen in the analog world. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It absolutely can, especially when you start developing a system, right? So I've got a creativity journal, I've got a health and fitness journal, I've got what I call my field journal, and I've got a daily guided prompted journal here from the Daily Stoic, right? That's a whole system that I need to feel obligated to sometimes write in, but I don't. I don't feel obligated to do it. If I break the consistency, that's absolutely fine. And I just put it down. The other side of that is if I really do want to write something, if it's been a little bit too long or I feel like something's going on and I need to write something down, but there's a barrier, well, I will then go out and look for a source of inspiration. And I think you guys should do that too. You should try this out. If ever you're stuck, just go out for a walk. It really is that simple. Take your books, put them in a bag, go out for a nice walk, okay? Don't force anything. Don't go on that walk anticipating that you're going to end up writing some kind of Shakespearean 15 pages of absolute just amazing literature. Don't have any of that in your mind. Just go for a nice walk and let the walk itself inspire you or not. There is no consequence to this walk, okay? But generally speaking, you'll go out and you'll find something to write about. And let me give you a good example of what happened to me the other day, which is why I'm making this video. So I was desperate to write something. I started beating myself up. I put my books down, and then I thought, no, actually, I do actually want to. I want to write something. So how can I do that? Let me go for a walk and let me try and clear my mind, because there is clearly a barrier. There is something that's stopping all of these thoughts and feelings and ideas. There's something that's stopping them from being articulated on a page. So I went for a walk. Halfway through the walk, I realized, like, man, I'm still not inspired. I don't know what to write. This is devastating, And then this system started scaring me. Like, why have you got so much shit to write? Why have you got so many books? Why have you done that? And I kind of calmed myself down, kept walking. Still didn't know what I wanted to write. We're like, I think about 30, 40 minutes into the walk now, and it's quite a big walk. And when I've finally cleared my mind, I started noticing a theme on this walk when I started really tuning in to the kind of beauty of what's going on around me. And when I just started enjoying the walk, because, how amazing is it that I've got two legs that work and I get to go out and walk? How amazing is that? It's gratitude, right? It's a good place to start. But I started noticing things around me. So I started tuning into the sound of the wind, classic, right? I started tuning into the sound of my feet and the ground and the leaves and the twigs underneath my feet, the smells, all of this kind of stuff, right? Really obvious stuff when you start walking. There's nothing groundbreaking here. And when I started doing that, the other thing I started noticing was all of the trash and all of the fly tipping and all of the litter and all of the horrible stuff that was strewn across this beautiful, beautiful natural walk that I was on. This walk was so overgrown. I was like getting ripped to shreds to try and find the trail. That's how crazy this walk was, right? But I knew the route roughly. And I started noticing just how much litter there was. And I started locking into that. And it started making me think about my time in South Wales, which is where I'm based right now. How big a problem the littering and the fly tipping is in this particular area. It's a epidemic, a pandemic level of problem in this area. Generally, you go on these beautiful walks to kind of get away from all of those problems. And if you see a little bit of litter here and there, you kind of go, oh God, you'll pick it up, put it in your pocket, maybe you'll throw it away at the end of the walk, you'll do your little bit, right? Well, on this particular walk, I just started getting like more and more of it. I couldn't turn away. I couldn't see the beauty because of this litter, of this problem. And anyway, long story short, that is what I decided to write about, because I had nothing to say. I knew I wanted to say something, and I thought I was going to go on this beautiful walk, and that beautiful walk was going to talk to me. It was going to tell me what I needed to say, and it did. But what that wasn't anything that I had in my mind already. It was about what was going on that walk in real time, in the moment. And that is the key. That is the answer. So regardless of what it was that I decided to write about, which so happened to be something awful like the littering problem and the fly tipping problem in South Wales, it could have been anything, couldn't it? It could have been maybe I tripped over when I was walking. Maybe it could have been how overgrown things were, or how easy it would be to get lost in, effectively my backyard. Right, it's not that far away from where I live, this walk, but it'd be so easy to get lost. There was a beautiful stream that had completely dried up. There were amazing trees to climb. I remember thinking about, like, being able to climb these trees like when I was a kid. All of these things were coming to me, but I still couldn't piece together what it was I wanted to write, until I got to a point in the walk where someone or a few people have made a barbecue, which is silly anyway, right? But they kind of discarded it and kind of like broke it all down. But there was beer cans and bottles and packs of Doritos and whatever else. And I just thought, I've been seeing that the whole time. And that's what I wrote about. That's pretty much all I wanted to say today. Is if you are struggling to write something down, go outside and let the environment help you. Let whatever that is, go to a coffee shop. Maybe you'll see someone dressed in a weird way, or maybe someone will look at you. Maybe your coffee will burn your lips, or the price of coffee has gotten so out of hand, you're going to write about that. Or maybe, I don't know, you see a cool dog. It doesn't matter. But if you were sat at home, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always get, or whatever it is, right? There's that expression. Well, it's a bit like that. If you're sat at home and you can't write, just get out. Get out in nature, get out to a different environment, get out and do something different, and the inspiration will come. You might even try saying, writing down in your book, I do not know what to write. That's fine. Reflect on that next time. Don't beat yourself up if you have that blank page syndrome. You've just got to find a way to not force inspiration, but to foster it, to encourage it. And I personally think that getting outside and going for a walk is the absolute best way to do that. And I proved it to myself by going out and, unfortunately, being really reminded of just how horrible the fly tipping is. And I managed to get 4 pages out of that in this book. And the other thing that I did, it's something that I'm going to speak about in another video. The way I wrote this was almost like I was writing an article for a blog or a newspaper. So I gave it a title. I called it The Beauty in the Beast. And I wrote it like it was a piece. And that really helped me. It really helped me detach from myself and just be able to write without any shame or embarrassment. And I don't really have shame and embarrassment when it comes to my writing. But certainly when you're struggling to get something down, you need to find a vehicle or a mechanism to make it easier. So going outside was one, and writing in a format and a structure that I don't normally write in, like finding writing like it's an article, giving it a title, pretending it's for public consumption. That really helped. And I'm going to go more into detail about that in another video, but that's all for now. Just pick up your book and get writing. And if you can't, then pick up your backside, go out and go for a walk and see what happens. Thank you very much for watching.